Oh, they're really far. So Matiz over here with the same kind of eco start, getting things going, and then on the other side of the planet, almost at the South Pole instead of the North Pole, we've got Godde in the red, also with a very economically focused start as well. And I am going to use hotkeys to make it so I can flip back and forth.
Yeah, that's pretty useful. So looking at the starting positions here, Matiz has started next to a very nice area of mechs, a little bit far away from each other, having to walk in a line, but it's no big problem. Nice little bit of mechs behind that crack as well. He's in a solid position here, nothing to worry about really. Having a little look over at Godde, he's also got lots of mechs near to him, in a bit of a line to walk through. A little bit less expansion for Godde, a little bit more spread out, but really no issue when they start on the other side of the planet here. They saw quite a few explosions from those comm deaths, so they kind of know quite a few places where the opponent isn't. But we should be up for a good game here.
And the first one to get a factory of any kind is Godde. He's got a factory, and he's really continuing with economics as he brings out the fabrication bot, queues up another one.
Yep, moving straight onto mechs as well, not assisting the commander with those power gens. He's going for a standard sort of build, something that's been around since Alpha. But if we have a look back at Matiz, we can see he actually went for 4 mechs, so he's going to have a lot of metal. He also went for an energy storage, which is going to help him balance his power a lot easier. So different build orders from these players, but both of them pretty solid.
Just looking around the planet, the metal is there, but it's you know, in sparse clusters. There's not a ton of water to affect the game, but there is a little bit here and there, and some of it is close to some pretty nice spots.
Yeah, water can definitely play a role, but it shouldn't necessarily dominate the game. There's quite a lot of open space in some of these areas, quite a lot of small pools that you could potentially get into if it was strategically a good choice.
Neither players actually has their starting base near the water, so there's not a lot of danger associated with that. And in fact, if you look at Matiz's base, you can see that he's got some level of terrain surround on a couple sides there. He's got a mountain range and 2 crevasses blocking the way, whereas Godde is a little bit more open, but he's got some features in each direction as well.
Yeah, he's got a couple of mountains that will help out. Matiz actually made a mistake there. He didn't finish building his very first metal extractor, which is a little bit painful.
I did not see it fall. Did it already fall, or did he fix it?
It's just fallen.
Well, Matiz appears to be the first one to build an aggressive unit with that 1 docks that he's sent around for a little bit of scouting.
Very heavy on engineers for Godde, going for 3 engineers, 7th engineer now coming off, 8th one planned as well. He is getting out that air factory though, so he'll be able to know if you get some raiding units coming in. Once again, Matiz sticking with the same build order, going forward. T2 bot factory at minute 3.5 here.
Yeah, he must feel that the slammers are really strong, or he's just kind of using plans that he used from his subcom days.
I think he's been playing about, trying to work out what's good, and evidently he's stuck on this T2 rush. The only thing I would really like to see in this game is I'd like to see him building a T2 engineer and getting access to that T2 eco. Because, you know, that T2 eco can really swing it in your favour, rather than just trying to rush the slammers immediately. Scout comes out from Godde.
Well, that's going to be a hugely important factor for him. I think it's going to, just getting the knowledge of how far the distance is will give him a lot of comfort in what he wants to do, and gives him a lot of decision making he can make as a result as well. Yeah. He has now overflown the base.
He's just seen the commander moving north. He's also seen the T2 factory already built, so he's already got a good idea of what's going on. He could go T2 in response to that, certainly with that intel that he's got now. He's also beginning to expand with 3 engineers towards the front of his base, getting up a bot factory, and we're going to see more of those little proxy factories going up as he begins to expand.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of proxy factories go down yet. Somebody has a factory built right in between their bases. Yeah, he's sending a few engineers. Godde is sending a few engineers forward to make a proxy base between those 2 big lakes and their bases.
Yeah. So what we're we're going to see here is the scout strats from Godde. This is something he does pretty commonly. You can see missing a lot on that scamper he's trying to hit with these scouts, but you can see here he's built a huge amount of scouts, far more than you ever would normally. He's got about 10 scouts, I believe, and he's going to be using this to harass engineers on the outskirts of Matiz's base. Matiz does need to move up to air. As we saw in his last game, it did hurt him a little bit not having air.
Yeah, now there is the one unit moving out from Matiz's base, right gonna smack into those bot fabricators building the proxy, so that will be a big indication about what's going on. And he has an opportunity here to pick up those fabricators if he gets a chance. He doesn't quite have vision yet. You can see the intersection of the vision. Now he's gonna see it, and here comes the moves.
Yep, the factory gets finished here. He could definitely assist out a bot, but it depends whether he notices it or not. In comes that scamper beginning to pile on damage onto those engineers. He does notice, he moves away, he's probably going to assist, and no, he's going to go for an air turret there, but Matiz looks like he hasn't noticed. He's just going to keep on walking through.
Yeah, with that one tower, he should be in pretty good shape. Would be a little bit better if he had one on the other side as well, because you can just use the factory to block the damage. But now he's working on his third factory, but skipping the completion of that second one. Not sure what's going on there.
More scout harass coming in from Godde. He managed to kill the 2 engineers expanding towards the south of Matiz's base, stop them before they could get up the anti-air turret. He's just going to continue the harassment here, completely denying any expansion by using a little swarm of scouts there to take out expanding engineers. Getting up multiple air factories, however, from Matiz now. He's going to get back into the air game. His T2 factory is finished. We see he's actually invested in a T2 engineer here, which is nice. Probably going to start on T2 mechs or T2 power now.
Yeah, just looking to see. He's actually got another Tier 2 factory queued up as well after he gets those 2 airs, so he is really investing in that. You do see that he's got several power generators, Tier 2 power plants planned as well, so he will get to the benefit of that Tier 2 engineer right away.
Bombers coming in from Godde, doing a little bit of work with the air advantage he has. Fighter immediately coming out from Matiz though, and he's going to be able to intercept both of these bombers here.
Yep, that one goes down, and that's the other one.
Second one. Yep.
Meanwhile,
and so
doing a great job of microing. Godde has expanded in pretty much every direction. He's got a couple places he hasn't gone, but he is really he hasn't constrained himself to one direction at all. He's got the one proxy there, and then close to the water, he's also got another one.
Yeah, Godde putting up proxies all over the place, doing brilliant expansion. Looking over Matiz, he's obviously going to forego some of that expansion to go for the T2 and start being very aggressive. We see a lot of T2 bots out already, and he's going to really start making moves. The commander's also moving forward, so he's really starting to get aggressive here. We have 4 engineers assisting that first T2 factory, so he's going to be getting out the engineers pretty quick. We have 2 T2 engineers starting on the T2 power and the T2 mechs. So we're going to see Matiz do a lot better this game with his T2 eco, and he can afford to cede quite a lot of map control with that T2 eco. And use his raiding here to gain advantages. We actually see a lot of single laser turrets coming up from Godde. I think that's really the wrong choice. They're a lot weaker than the double laser turrets, especially against T2 units like the Slammers.
Yeah, and the assault is on now by Matiz. He's bringing anti-air on the ground and his Slammers, so he's got a pretty strong Tier 2 force. Doesn't seem to have anything in the way of fabricators to help as a commander, and as soon as he runs into the fortifications of Godde, or even really just the metal extractor, he backs off and reorganizes his units to get the commander in front.
Yeah, I think in this situation I always build a bot factory with the commander so that I can have repairing bots coming in immediately behind me as I move in.
Well, he does have 2 fabricators coming in from the main base, just walking their way out there to assist him, and the conflict is just getting ready to start here.
In comes the commander. He's going to walk into a lot of laser turrets here. Does need to be careful about what he walks into. A lot of slammers coming in behind him there.
Taking tons of damage, as they say, but the slammers are making really good work of those towers and have already destroyed most of the fortifications of this base. I think this is going to be kind of a complete loss.
Win. That's a massive win for Matiz there. Full retreat now for Godde, and he's lost a lot of metal that he's invested in all those turrets and the factories, and he's going to lose these mechs here as well. So that's a really nice win for Matiz. A lot of investment there for Godde has gone to waste. Godde, however, is doing a decent job with all of this expansion, capturing a lot of metal over the planet.
Yeah, he
so
may have the metal to afford.
Yeah, he does have T2 air out, as we can see. He went for T2 very late. He's now getting on a whole load of T1 factories as well, getting out some T2 fabbers there so he can build his T2 eco, and we're going to see T2 bombers very, very soon. Which will be interesting. I think that'll actually be very, very good. An orbital factory coming up from Matiz here as well, so he can get off planet. All he has to do is keep Godde occupied for quite a while. As long as he gets an engineer off planet, then he can start colonizing these other planets and getting the payoff for it.
That would be fantastic to see. You know, I'm not so alarmed by the loss that Godde had there, because essentially what he did is he went ahead and built multiple proxy bases, and he lost one of them, but that still left him with proxy bases in a couple of different areas. Like, he's got a lot of map control and expansion all over the map, so the loss of this one particular one was big. However, there's so many other ones to help compensate.
Yeah, we do have big problems with this rather nasty looking death ball coming in. However, in come these T2 bombers now. Fighters are leading the way as well. It's always very important to protect your T2 bombers. Fighters coming in from Matiz, but he does not have enough, and they're dealt with immediately by Godde. A couple of fire goes on to the T2 bombers, but there they go. They drop their payload, and you can see how mute ground forces are once T2 bombers are on the field.
Yeah.
Great work from Matiz though with his micro. He managed to take care of a couple of those T2 bombers.
Yeah, pretty huge loss there of those tier 2 units for Matiz. He's actually turning around in full retreat, and he's still got a couple of anti-air, but of course they didn't quite have enough there to really knock those guys down.
He's already halfway through his orbital launcher, so doing pretty well with that, but he needs to put a lot more build power on getting those air factories out, because T2 air, if you don't respond to it immediately, you're in a lot of trouble. I'm not sure if he knows whether the T2 engineers can build T2 anti-air flak, which would be a perfect counter to the T2 bombers.
Yeah, the flak is in fact extremely strong. He's also brought a tier 2 engineer all the way out here to the front lines as a part of his plan. I'm not sure what the plan to do with that is, if he's just come out to assist the commander, or where he's going to go. But
it would be wonderful if you could start building some flak. We actually see some flak queued up. I'm not sure whether it's anti-air or flak, and it is a flak cannon, so he knows exactly how to counter this, and he's going to keep his commander safe there for the moment. It would also be absolutely great if you could get up a catapult. Anything else aggressive would be very nice for him as well.
Well, he started that flak, but he seems to have cancelled it. Oh, he's building it just a little farther forward.
Still a good idea to finish it. It costs only 300 metal, and it really will rip through those T2 bombers. Looking at Godde, we see a lot of T2 bombers, almost 10 T2 bombers now, so we're getting into the sort of territory where you can snipe commanders. And Matiz needs to be careful of that, but his orbital factory is already finished. This is a very close game at the moment. Obviously a huge amount of map control for Godde, but he hasn't built up the production at these bases. These areas are still very vulnerable to raiding. I don't think Matiz really has an idea of just how much map control Godde has. Needs to do a bit of scouting here.
He is doing a little bit of scouting on the back with the slammer.
Yep, that's coming up there. Might run into those engineers.
And he's got an engineer running out there as well, so he's probably looking to expand a little bit on his own towards the North Pole side there. He does have a fighter now in the middle of a set of metal extractors over there, so he's starting to get an inkling of what's going on with Godde's expansion. I'm going to look at the... Go ahead.
Godde has a huge amount of air factories. He is really concentrating on dominating the air so his T2 bombers can do the work, and he's actually built a orbital factory very quickly with 9 engineers there. He's also built a fabber, so that was an interesting choice. He did not go for an Astraeus. He went for a fabber first, followed by an Astraeus. So that's an interesting choice. Perhaps he wants to get out some fighters on the planet so that he can deny orbital for Matiz. But the Astraeus now almost finished, so he's going to be off planet very, very soon indeed.
Yeah, he's actually gotten that done before Matiz has gotten his completed. Actually, Matiz is just finished now. Haven't seen him put anything queued up in that, and there's a set of fighters over his base. He's actually got quite a bit of control. He's killing those Matiz's fighters as they come out, and he's managed to knock...
destroying the air factories. He's deliberately right over his factories here, so as soon as they get built, you'll actually destroy the factories with the lone fire that misses the fighters. And there we go, that factory goes down as well, and he's going to keep... Oh, here we go with a massive T2 bomber strike coming in. Like he might go for the orbital.
That's going to go down immediately. This could be...
far behind right now.
This is could be it.
Anti-air turret, flak turrets being built though by those engineers. Two T2 power gens go down though. This is going to make things very difficult. Trying to get up the second anti-air flak.
That flak's going to do a ton of damage to those guys. Oh, they're one more pass. If they come around, they could really take them out here. That was a huge.
Yeah, take care of all of them.
Three flak turrets really took him out, but he also lost 5 of those tier 2 engineers, or tier 2 energy plants.
Matiz's commander currently sitting in the middle of mountains here. Perhaps he's trying to defend himself against bomber strikes coming in at the com. I don't think that'll work here.
I think he's just
really in trouble.
Yeah, he's in a very awkward position there. Significant army here coming out by Matiz, and finally approaching the base. I don't see that there's a ton of coordinated defense here for the base of Godde, but he is bringing down an Astreus now to pick up an engineer. Looks like he's going to get just a tier 1.
Yeah. Getting up a whole load of laser turrets for this incoming attack. Quite a lot of flak next to the commander, so the commander is kind of safe for the moment. He is sending in all those slams trying to do some damage. If he picks a weak point, he'll be able to get through, but in come the T2 bombers, and this is it. If you don't have air control, the T2 bombers will just completely deny any
kind of turns right around.
Kind of retreat here.
There's a little okay, the only anti-air he had is now gone. I think he may lose a lot of this army.
Commander's looking very risky as well, out on his own here. He needs to stick next to the flak.
His army retreating back towards the flak, that will be a great position, but his commander needs to go too, and he's really not. Hasn't really taken a lot of damage yet.
A lot of killer eco for Godde is making things difficult for Matiz, because Godde can afford to spam out all those laser towers and get out that orbital. Each of those bombers, except for one, has kind of ended up circling around by that flak and have now died. So for now, he's kind of safe. In orbital, we see the commander for Godde has actually got off planet and is going to one of them. It's not sure which, and an orbital Faba is going to the other planet in the system.
Yeah, one orbital Faber. It's kind of hard to tell which is what, as you said, but he's really on his way.
We also see an Astreus out from Matiz, so he's managed to make a comeback here, get an Astreus. Perhaps he's thinking if he can get off planet and hold on for as long as possible, then he can still make a comeback. Yeah, Godde's commander has now left the main planet. He's also heading out towards one of the other planets, so he is going to be ultimately safe for quite a while. If Matiz gets off planet, then we could be in for quite a long game. I wouldn't be so sure. I think if Godde gets off planet, he'll be able to control the other ones. He is off first. That is true. Matiz definitely needs to micro his orbital now, move out the Faber and the Astreus as soon as possible. Interesting moves from Godde. At the back of Matiz's base, he's building T2 bot factories, and they'll be able to come in and do a lot of very nasty raiding on Matiz. Yeah, 2 Astreus out now, one getting to work for Matiz. Moving down for a pickup. Two Astreus now moving out. Looks like he can do a double drop. Looking at the main front, we see a Hulkins trying to get up from Matiz, but Pelter's being built by Godde, trying to creep in on this area that he's got here. And no radar coverage for Matiz is really hurting him right now. Yeah, quite a few Pelters doing work on the flak turrets of Matiz, so I don't think that front position is going to last. Yeah, and he's going to be very vulnerable to all these T2 bombers as soon as those flak go down, and that could be the end of the game. Still flying over with more fighters, doing harassment with bombers in the main base of Matiz, and Matiz is really in a little bit of trouble here. Matiz had some fighters earlier, but they appear to be gone now, so I think that he is kind of continued to try to reestablish functioning air, but has not had that work out successfully. He really needs to get a couple more flak around his base if he wants to avoid these raids. Yep, needs to pepper some flak around his base to actually hold on. Would be nice if he could try and get some more raiding done, but having a look at Godde in the back of the base now, he's got out multiple T2 factories ready to do raiding. He's got lots and lots planned, and he's really going to start being aggressive on the ground wall, which is going to be very difficult for Matiz. Yeah, between the 2 lakes on that front, he's got about 6
tier 2 factories and 3 more planned, and the one that we first spotted has 3 more planned after it. So this seems pretty overwhelming in favor of Godde.
Hulkin's now taking fire from Godde's pelters. Unfortunately, he finished it. It's already been put under fire.
Yeah, the Hulkin's fire rate is pretty slow now, and it's not clear whether he has the power to fire it and get enough recon.
Yeah, 1 every 20 seconds is pretty slow. It does absolutely phenomenal damage, but 1 every 20 seconds is very slow fire rate.
More work by the bombers of Godde back between their bases, and it looks like he's really starting to push forward now. There's still 4 flak towers. Oh, those are actually tier 1, I think, between the airport or that Matiz has.
Yeah, the commander now forced to retreat back towards the anti-air flak because he cannot go near those T2 bombers.
He's in a bit of a pinch here.
To catch the bombers. His fighters catch the bombers, managed to take out quite a few. Bit of mismicro there from Godde, doesn't notice the fighters, but coming in at the back of Matiz's base now, in come the first T2 slammers, and they're going to move in here, and there's not much to stop them. We see a couple of Astrayas standing there for Matiz, but it's really going to be too late to move to another planet. Godde just has too much of an eco advantage right now.
Yeah, everybody's traveling to the other planet. He'll have a still a long time before they actually reach there.
Yep, looks like the Fabra is going to the lava planet and the commander is going to the moon for Godde.
There's actually 2 big air armies next to each other, and oh, Godde has left a bunch of them on the ground, and the slammers come through and just clean them up. The first units of Godde are at the back of the base.
A lot of fighters for Matiz. He has been concentrating a lot on the air factory span and sending some slammers to deal with those units coming in from Godde.
Yeah, Matiz's economy just can't really compete with this constant barrage that Godde has. Godde has taken over pretty much the rest of the planet, and so has left him completely surrounded, aside from his original base and the kind of direction of attack that he's gone across.
Matiz has surprisingly managed to hold on now. Trying to get his eco up. He's got a whole load of fighters now. He may even have slightly more than Godde at the moment.
Yeah, and his Hulkins has taken out all those pelters, so he made a little progress. And he's taking out just huge chunks of energy plants with his Hulkins.
Yep, softening up the defenses. Big fight happening with the air.
Yeah, huge conflict. A bunch of units traded there. Yeah, Godde's coming back again for another pass.
T2 bombers coming in. Need to be careful. We still got more fighters from Godde to come in, and at the moment all those T2 bombers are kind of going to go to waste there.
Yeah, Godde lost all of his fighters there, so he's kind of lost control of the air for a little bit, and you can see he's pulling his bombers back for now.
Wisely though, Matiz has moved his commander back. Oh my god, a massive slammer force coming straight through the middle of Godde. Destroys a couple of air factories. T2 bombers now coming in, and oh, more than half of them go down to one T2 bomber there. Really unfortunate for him. More T2 bombers coming in to finish it. He managed to take care of T2 mechs before they go down though. But that was a nice little strike force that came in and surprised Godde.
Another set of slammers coming in the backside of Godde's base.
More fighters coming in from Matiz, but they run straight into this field of fighters from Godde, and Godde now has air control back again. He does have so much production, but as you say now, the back of Matiz's base is really getting assaulted. No defences there to assist him.
Just a few slammers left for Matiz. Put up a pretty good fight here, I'd say. But now his set of slammers are almost completely gone.
We do actually see Matiz concentrating on the advanced air factories here, so he could potentially get out Peregrines and regain air control.
That could help a lot. There's a kind of a trickle of on the other side of Matiz's base, trickle of slammers coming in from two sides. to attack his tier 2 energy fields, but he's got some response. If he can kind of hit them as a line as they come in, he's splitting his forces now to try to deal with it.
Just too much forces coming in here. T2 bombers, however, four T2 bombers coming in, they'll actually be able to destroy that very well. So great defense there from Matiz.
Yeah, excellently
so
done.
Worked out that T2 bombers are really going to help him.
But meanwhile, right back in the middle of his base, there's quite a few slammers coming in, and they realize he pulls them back for just a moment, realizing that they're going to face the bombers in a moment. But now he realizes he doesn't have anywhere to run to, so he's going to go ahead and get as much damage done as he can.
T2 bombers defend very nicely there. So good work from Matiz. He is really, really holding on. More coming in from the north, but all these T2 bombers he'll be able to defend unless we see all these fighters sent in from Godde.
Quite a few orbital fighters up in space for Matiz, and looking on the celestial layer, Matiz has a bunch of orbital fighters that are traveling to another planet, as well as...
You see combat engineers in here with Matiz actually sending through a force, and all of his forces don't die there because the combat engineers keep them alive. And T2 bombers coming straight into the main base of Godde right now. Run straight into fighters, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's quite a bit of fighters. He seems to have that pretty well under control. All the units arriving at the on the Purgator planet. There's a bunch of units arriving. There's a teleporter. With the teleporter, Godde will be able to really flood in there and provide a strong defense. He's got it actually finished construction, and his commander's just sitting there. So I think he may have lost his concentration on that. So that may give, if that situation lasts long enough, that may give Matiz an opportunity to join him on that planet. But it's not very big, so it wouldn't be very long before they ran into each other.
He's working on those bot factories now, though, and on Erebus we do see a teleporter up, so we're going to see units potential to stream in on there as well for Godde. So Godde's really beginning to take control of the whole system now. But we see here all of these Fabbers, the Astraeus have actually arrived here, and a lot of engineers come as reinforcement in through the teleporter for Godde, and he shoots down the Astraeus that's going over him. The Astraeus now only has 150 HP, so it can be shot by 2 shots from a single fighter. So you've got to be very careful with your Astraeus these days.
And back on the main planet, there's a huge wave of air kind of going over Matiz's base, or Matiz's base. So the fighting continues here.
To dominate the air. He's been losing all of his forces to these T2 bombers. He's really got to control the air here.
Well, Matiz doesn't have enough anti-air to really take out those fighters, so it's really just a matter of Godde noticing where the bombers are and then just going and cleaning them up. And more slammers coming into underneath those fighters. Not a ton of them left.
A lot of fighters just went down. If they go anywhere near those anti-air flak, then he could lose air control. You've got to be very, very careful. T2 bombers working at the North Pole have taken out so many slammers. Godde is not aware of just how many slammers he's been losing. He's built so many. Okay,
big conflict at the North Pole in the air-to-air fight. I think Godde's units blob is quite a bit bigger, so sure enough he cleans up the whole thing.
Yeah, he can finally send his forces in now. Looking back at his main base, he's still got some more fighters in reserve. He's actually building a nuke in his main base as well, and a nuke could be the ender here. One well-placed nuke taking out all the air factories. If he loses air control, it's just completely over.
Yeah, that nuke factory has a lot of units assisting it, so it could really do a lot. And the teleporter just goes live. Looking at the other planets, he's already started building factories on that next planet. He's got an umbrella up.
3 umbrellas. He's being very cautious.
Yeah, being very cautious on that one. And then he's still not done anything with the lava planet, but it's unlikely that he's going to need to.
It looks like all these Astraeus from Matiz were empty. He didn't fill them up with engineers.
Well, that is unfortunate for him. He does have an orbital fabricator above the planet. He has 2 of them there that he could make use of. He's got nothing
T2
around the
power
lava
gens being
planet.
lost by Matiz.
It was amazing how well he's hung on to the ability to challenge the air superiority of Godde here, and
Yeah,
he's
he
got
really has.
more bombers like wiping out the slammers.
Yeah, it's amazing with not full air control, he's still managing to use these T2 bombers. This is kind of why I like to get out Peregrines, because you can spam Peregrines really hard while they're spamming bombers, and then if you can take air control, then you have a little bit more scope to get those T2 bombers.
And potential big conflict of air brewing over here. They're just kind of sweeping around and harassing each other. But if you look at the giant line of air factories by Godde, he's got a lot of ability to produce more air.
And the front base from Matiz is right outside of Godde's base is finally taken down, and that little bastion's now gone. Fighters, as you said, going over Godde's base now. Those bombers are a little bit at risk, but they walk over the flak and you see all those fighters just pop, pop, pop. Very dangerous to be scouting with groups of units like that.
Yeah,
a lot of defences as well for Matiz.
Actually, that whole sweep that he did with scouting, every single one of those fighters was lost. Matiz once again building an orbital. He's already got 2. I don't know that he really needs to do that.
We might even see things begin to go into Matiz's favour here, as it looks like he's ever so slightly ahead on air units. And there's no anti-air in the base of Godde, so he can still kind of fly over that with impunity, but the nuke is about 80% finished here, which will spell problems for him. Still no action on the lava planet. A lot of fighters were sent there. Teleporter actually being built on the moon by Matiz, so he can potentially send some units through there and even surprise the commander, because the commander at the moment is very, very weak. He's got to be very careful in this situation. Actually.
That would be a pretty crazy outcome. Yeah, the commander is here all alone. He's focused almost entirely on umbrellas and all that factory production, but none of it used to actually build some defensive units, some combat units. They're all on fabricators.
So Godde has vision of the teleporter on this planet, so he knows at least that Godde is here. Godde has no idea that Matiz is there, and he's trying to build Halleys now. That's probably not going to get finished.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like it's going to happen.
Now finished.
Teleporter now finished.
Teleporter now finished for Matiz. Can he get anything in it? There's a teleporter there. Is he going to move his commander through?
That would be
standing right next to the teleporter on the main base.
That would be
nuke
pretty.
Comes in from Godde, however. In comes that nuke in towards the main base of Matiz.
Oh, there it is.
He takes out 2, 6, 7 mechs and some T2 power gens and some flak as well. So really hitting the metal of Matiz, and if we look at it now, he has almost no metal. And really, he probably doesn't have much power either, which means he's going to find it difficult to get off planet.
Yeah, if he only knew that he could just do an all-in through that teleporter and try to win the game.
Indeed.
Big set of slammers coming down towards the teleporter right now. Pretty important objective. They're stopping to work on that orbital, but it's really not the most important factor. But continuing on towards the teleporter, I think this is going to spell the last kind of hope of Matiz if it gets there. Bombers coming in to intercept.
Yep. Bombers can intercept. More bombers on the right hand side of his base, still trying to just hold on for as long as possible. Commander though a little bit at risk with all those slammers. Ooh, nice little bomb there.
Finds the
No,
teleporter.
teleporter's gonna go down.
Teleporter does go down.
That's unfortunate for Matiz. I think he could have gone for an all-in there with all of those bots just trying to stream through. He can still get up a teleporter in time. Still no action on the lava planet as of yet.
And the moon is
Very
still...
difficult.
The teleporter is almost completely surrounded, but it just hasn't been found yet. Vision of that teleporter could happen at any moment, but the bots just have he's queued up to take all the metal extractors on the moon, the tiny asteroid, but he just doesn't quite have vision there of the teleporter.
There's a engineers. Those engineers though, they're about to come across that teleporter any second now. Very close. Next mechs, they will find it.
Well, they have to not only find it, but they also have to have Godde notice. Godde's running pretty close on power. You can see the teleporter coming online and offline, and his vision of the orbital fabric is there, but only temporarily.
Another nuke comes down and puts his head there. A couple of power zones go down. A couple of T2 factories as well. And Matiz really has very little eco to speak of. He has got another teleporter up, and it is dialing in right now, and it is engaged. He needs to get all those slammers in there. The commander's going to go. Engineers also following the commander. I think this is a situation where you really need to just get those slammers in there. He's turning his slammers back. Follow the commander through that portal there, and is engaged on Purgator. Engineers coming forwards to see the teleporter. They might try and reclaim it. Commander here all alone. Nope, the engineers are trying to build mechs.
Yeah, still building mechs. Okay, he's just gotten noticed. No, just a tower being built. Like, I don't think he can really deal with all these towers himself.
Slammer's coming through the teleporter.
He could just flat out reclaim this commander, actually.
And Godde's commander actually moving in there as well, going to deal with it himself.
Ton of slammers coming through. Those slammers could really make the difference here. Godde's teleporter's up and running, but we don't see anything happening here.
Combat bots as well. Combat bots repairing that commander could be a killer. Lots of defenses coming up from Godde though, moving in with his commander to deal with those bots.
And the commander is actually losing health. Still nothing coming through Godde's teleporter. He's too busy microing this, but he has kind of an opportunity to push in here.
Godde forced to retreat pretty heavily with all these slammers coming straight in at him. He gets him in an Astreus, but he has to get that off planet. The commander could shoot that Astreus down in literally 2 seconds flat.
And it's away.
That would be a massive mistake. It is standing there. It's on its way. It's now moving out into orbit. He is safe and off planet now. We do see Matiz still just trying to put more pressure on Godde.
Matiz does have orbital fighters up there, but no, he did get it out of orbital space, so he's now in Celestial and safe for some time. It's kind of interesting to see whether he's able to clean up this planet enough to try to start to defend it. Nope, yeah, bots coming through the portal.
He could have shot down that commander. That would have been amazing.
That would have been an amazing comeback. Teleporter in use by Godde, but it's mostly fabricators coming through and building towers rather than actually any real units. And the commander's going to be able to just move through those with all the repairs he's got, assuming he's got the energy for it.
A lot of the stuff on the main base has been lost. We see a whole load of slammers now coming through the.
Yeah, those slammers are trouble. With those slammers coming through, that may he's now actually finally working on the teleporter. Teleporter's at about 50% health. Oh, that sounds like he's going to call it.
Incoming engineers. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a reclaim here.
A raffle reclaim?
Yeah.
Okay, the slammers are here doing the work.
And the GGs get called. Matiz gets taken out. That was pretty exciting at the end. He really could have pulled a win out of that.
Yeah, pretty surprisingly close at the end there.
A fantastic play from Matiz, managing to hold on that long against what seemed like a very dire situation.
Yeah, top-notch play.
It really didn't make it easy for Godde. Great game. Thanks for watching, everyone. Looks like we've gone over 100 viewers, which is awesome. Thank you to everyone who turned out.
Yeah, thanks everybody.